What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with a new musical journey. I wanted to thank Vera, who has provided a lot of music recently and who has begun commenting on all sorts of different deep dives, left a lot of comments during the classical days. And one of the things she shared is Jethro Tull, an album by Jethro Tull. So this is a name I've known for a long time, as with some of the other deep dives I've begun recently. I know the name basically through reputation. I know they're a British band or a UK band, if I'm remembering that correctly, so maybe I shouldn't use the word no. But yes, I think they're a UK band that got started in the 60s. I'm actually thinking of a silly line from a ridiculously American blockbuster movie, that space movie Armageddon, where they have to stop an asteroid from hitting the Earth, and there's a point where someone says something about Jethro Tull, but they say it like it's a person, and I think it's Owen Wilson's character is like, I hate it when people think it's a person in the band and not the band itself, so that comes to mind. But honestly, I know next to nothing about them beyond their country of origin and roughly the timeline they got started. And Vera has provided an album from the late 70s, 1977, Songs from the Wood, which I like that. It certainly speaks to a natural setting, perhaps people out in nature itself, listening to the songs, which is to say, this will be an album of songs, but the phrase songs from the wood sounds like the birds and the sounds that you hear when you're out in a forest somewhere. So yeah, I feel like there's maybe a bit of double meaning going on with the title, and the reason I bring that up is because the album opens with the title track. So yes, I really don't have any context for their musical styling, so I'll pick that up as we go, and I suppose it would be insightful to know whether the music on this album is reflective of their larger catalog, or if it's one phase of a diverse and evolving catalog, which would be my most likely assumption. Nevertheless, I am curious whether we will hear any bird song or sounds specifically, in addition to songs from the wood in a more formal sense, songs by a band. So enough talking, let's give it a listen. This is Jethro Tull. The track is Songs from the Wood from the album of the same name, 1977.
Let me bring you songs from the woods to make you feel much better than you could know. Better than you could know. Dust you down from tip to toe. Dust you down from tip to toe. Show you how the garden grows. Show you how the garden grows. Hold you steady as you go. Hold steady as you join the chorus if you can. It'll make of you an honest man. Let me bring you love from the fields, poppies red and roses filled with summer rain, to heal the wound and still the pain that threatens again and again as you drag down every lover's lane. Life's long celebrations here. I'll post you all in any cheer. Let me bring you all things refined, galley heights, some served in chilling ale. Greetings, well, my fellow hail. I am the wind to fill your sail. I am the cross to take your nail. A singer of these ageless times, with pitch and prose and gutter rhymes. Songs from the wood make you feel let me bring you love from the fields. Poppies red and roses filled with summer rain, to heal the wound and still the pain that threatens again and again as we drag down every love and lane. Life's long celebrations here, I'll toast you all in any cheer. Songs from the wood make you feel much better. Songs from the wood make you feel much better.
Holy smokes. I mean, that, if that's in any way reflective of this album as a whole or their catalog more broadly, that's stunning. That's incredible. They're like a band's band, a musician's group of musicians. Like, they really seem like they've got some crazy creativity. Like, first of all, the rhythms, they keep flourishing and rolling over. Like, it's not a simple standard beat at any point. Like, every time I thought I knew what this next phase had to offer, it would go into a different configuration and bring in some different instruments. And indeed, like, the instrumentation on this is crazy. The flute did stand out, I won't lie. The flute was maybe the thing that, I won't say I didn't expect it, but it's not part of many groups. So when you hear it in a band that, you know, plays some form of art rock, is maybe the best way I would describe this, it's not something you necessarily think you're going to hear in advance, and it was a really prominent element. Not throughout, there were parts where other instruments came to the fore and were flourishing in the spotlight, but the flute definitely stood out, and there were a couple moments where it was played very charismatically. So yeah, then also there were some different keyboard, there were like these organ chords, very dramatic, but also like very full and rich. Then there was a line that sounded a bit Baroque, a bit harpsichord-esque. I think there was a true piano in there. There's some different types of percussion, including some hand claps, which it sounds very much like, you know, musicians around a fireplace or a fire pit out in nature, out in a forest somewhere. And indeed, I think conceptually it seems like that is kind of what's happening here. The idea that out in the wood, these songs that you will hear, both, I suppose, natural ones and ones from people who are in that environment, who live that life, who know the therapeutic benefits of the wood and the musics that you will hear, it seems like it's saying that it can make you better, it will make you feel enriched, and you can go down these, what was it, lovers paths or lovers lanes. So it's like there's so much on offer for you out here, and it'll make you feel better, it'll enrich your life, it'll take you to places that you might not know if you only were in the city, if you only were in these dense urban or suburban environments that perhaps don't have the songs that you might hear out here in the wood, in the forest. So yeah, it seems like there is a pro-nature and, you know, living in commune with nature rather than set apart against it that is happening here thematically. I enjoy the vocals. Now, there were sections where the vocals sort of receded and it just kept doing this shifting beat structure, different instruments coming in and overlapping each other, but there were certainly some vocals that, you know, not identically, but it reminded me a bit of some of the Bee Gees vocals. I've been going through the Bee Gees, and as I've said a million times in that deep dive, going into it, I had a sense that they're known for disco, though I certainly figured I would hear some different stylings. And over the course of that deep dive, I've heard a lot of different genres. I've heard vocal performances, like singular, in unison, in harmony, and also with some different aesthetics over the course of their varied catalog. And indeed, I'm still, you know, going through a small part of their catalog, but I got a bit of the sense of that here, that they can do some different things vocally, and It sounds like there's multiple voices harmonizing but also working polyphonically with each other. So yeah, a really dynamic track is I guess what I'm trying to say in my very verbose and long-winded way. But I do tend to get like this when I hear something that really strikes me and I'm not familiar with. My brain does everything it can to make associations, to try to talk my way through what I just heard. And I think that is a positive indication that I really enjoy this. I'm looking forward to the rest of the album. I get why, just based on this song alone, they would be the kind of band that would get into the popular lexicon, that people would talk about, that people would reference in terms of their stylings and their creativity. So yeah, it sounds like they're a group of musicians that incorporate lots of different elements, that don't just play a song where it's quick intro, standardized verse, standardized chorus, standardized verse, standardized chorus, outro. It feels like they're, again, changing rhythms and, you know, like beat structure, the time measure of the piece as it evolves over the course of the tune. So really cool opener. Absolutely looking forward to the rest of the album. Thank you again to Vera and to any others who might take an interest in this journey. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.